Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, September 2nd. It's my last day here at Carson Pass up here in the high country. And tomorrow I'll be with you right there, back there on the church property. And so we're enjoying our last time here and continuing to uh, enjoy our time. And I'm still working up here, so it's just a great place to be. Really grateful for the generosity of the family who allowed us to use this space up here. Welcome everybody this morning. Terry and Marlene Throssell, Wendy Chadwick. Good morning. Who else is that there? The name's already gone by. I apologize. There's my mom. Welcome this morning. Welcome everybody. We are in Jeremiah chapter 2 again this morning. And there's one phrase in this chapter that keeps coming back to mind for me. Let's see who else is coming in here. Jim and Kathy. I saw Claudia come through. Dana, Lori, Rochelle, my cousin. Welcome. Steve Hauser. Welcome everybody. Jeremiah chapter 2. That's where we're at today. And the phrase that he says more than once in this chapter is God is lamenting that the people, Israel, God's people, did not say this phrase which God quotes as, "Where is the Lord?" And the implication is that they stopped seeking God. They stopped searching for Him. They stopped honoring Him. They stopped acknowledging that He was the one who led them, led them out of Egypt and fed them in the wilderness and brought them to the promised land, and they enjoyed all this time of God's provision and protection as the nation of Israel. They ignored when the northern kingdom, Israel. So remember, during just after Solomon, King Solomon, the very next king, Rehoboam, Solomon's son, he was not a wise king, and during his time the kingdom was divided. So you had the northern kingdom, which the Bible refers to as Israel, and then you had the southern kingdom, which is just the tribe of Judah and the Levites who were serving in the temple in Jerusalem. And so over the course of time, Judah was the favored. The southern kingdom was the favored kingdom. It was the Davidic line, and God revealed His faithfulness to them and the highs and lows of that dynasty. And then you had the northern kingdom, who didn't have a dynasty. There was just one king after another, overthrowing the other and displaying all kinds of evil and resistance to God and not acknowledging God. They had very few reforms in their history, and God allowed Assyria to come down, sweeping down out of the north, and destroyed the northern kingdom and scattered them abroad. And what Jeremiah is saying, he's prophesying shortly after that time to Judah, the southern kingdom, and he's saying, you didn't listen, you didn't pay attention to what happened to the northern kingdom when they ceased to seek the Lord. They stopped saying, "Where is the Lord?" And so God gave them a warning by disciplining the northern tribes. Just have Judah left, and they themselves have continued to turn a blind eye to what God has called them to and wants for them. They've ceased to say, "Where is the Lord?" And so I just think about, as it applies to our time, and particularly the troubles that we are seeing worldwide. We spoke yesterday. My niece Madison called from New Zealand, and they are dealing with all the same restrictions. She's in Auckland, and Auckland is just shut down. No international travel. And they have all their own protocols that they're trying to figure out and to keep the pandemic at bay and so on. And she was saying how this world, it just as a reminder, this is a worldwide thing. It's not just us, and we tend to trust in troubling times like this. We fight against having our preferred future, our preferred lifestyle, our preferred whatever we think we deserve, and so on. Even a pandemic can't stop us from doing what we want to do, and so on. There's this. I'm trying to tread lightly or carefully here, at least, because I know this is a polarizing issue. But the thing that keeps coming to mind is, especially for believers, is this is raising an aspect of our inner heart that I think is important to address. This individualistic, my will be done. You can't stop me from doing what I want to do. You're not the boss of me type of spirit. And I understand, before you just throw me under the bus, I understand there's a healthy part of that the fact that we live in the United States and our Constitution is founded upon, government by the people, for the people, and we have a voice. But there are aspects of this that I feel are less about freedom and more about my own individual will. You're telling me that I can't do things, and I don't like that, and so I'm going to rebel. And that's a spiritual issue of the heart and pride that I fear that under the cover of freedom, we are indulging our sense of pride that is actually something that God is allowing us, I think, to kind of address in our own heart. But in these days, it is covered by so many different issues and I don't know, what am I trying to say here? I just feel like what God is calling us to is to examine our heart with honesty. What is in there that really is causing so much trouble and anger during a time that's not just affecting America but all of the world? Are there heart issues here that we really need to address? And in these times, it's important for us to say, where is the Lord? I want to direct my heart back to God. God, what are you revealing in me? The Bible, time and time again, tells us that when we encounter various trials, we should rejoice. Why? Because God is revealing to us things about our heart that need to be developed. He's bringing up the dross, to use the analogy of how fine metals like gold and silver is refined. It's fired under a kiln, not a kiln, but a crucible. Is that a better word? And all the impurities rise to the surface, and that they're gleaned off, therefore resulting in a more pure and more valuable product. And God repeatedly allows us to be in these very difficult positions. And I think that one thing I've observed is that this dross that keeps coming up, and I see it all over I really have to minimize how much time I spent on social media because of all of the shaming and the vitriol that is being thrown everywhere in the name of our Constitution, in the name of even God at times, in the name of it's really what I see it as a spirit of defiance, not necessarily a spirit of the wanting the best interests for the people. Again, I say this because we have to honestly examine our own hearts. What is deep in there? What is God trying to address in us? Unless we honestly look at that and allow God to kind of deal with this defiant spirit, we are missing an opportunity of growth and humility that God is developing. And only God can really open up our mind and our heart to begin to work on this hardness, this darkness that is causing the tumult and anger within us. And if we reject it, if we don't say, where is the Lord? If we don't say, God, open up my heart to help me understand what's really at work here, what's really in play, and that I might serve you best, that I might understand what's happening in my life more deeply with regard to my heart issue, then we are in danger of God just allowing us to continue to experience difficult things until we do get it. That was the message to Jeremiah that he passed along to Judah, and in the end they did not get it. And ultimately they had to suffer the discipline of God because they wouldn't say the phrase, where is the Lord? They would not ultimately turn to the Lord and just lay their heart bare and repent and say, God, there are things here in my heart that truly do need to be addressed. I think it's in chapter 2, chapter 3 of Jeremiah 2. They keep claiming innocence. We're doing okay. We're doing the right thing, and God's saying, "How can you say this? Because I observe all these things in your life that are actually contrary to what you're telling me." And so that's why I'm trying to, for a lot of weeks now, just trying to struggle through how do we as a church, not Grace Fellowship, the church, respond in times like this, especially in times of trouble. I think we have the opportunity to really show the depth of our humility in times like this, and how we're serving one another, and how we can sacrifice ourselves and our self-interests for the sake of one another. And what I hear a lot is more of a spirit of defiance, and you can't tell me what to do, and rebellion. And these are not complimentary words to people as believers. And so I wish I could say something a lot more inspirational today, but that's where my heart is and has been. I'm trying to struggle with the words of how to express it without just being lambasted like everybody else who says something that people generally don't like to hear, and all of a sudden, you just get thrown way under the bus. And so, but I fear this. I fear the idea of people gather to themselves teachers and leaders who say what their tickling ears want to hear. And I feel like we're in danger of doing that when we shame anybody who says something or holds a viewpoint that we don't hold to. And we do it in a very unkind way, and I think that reveals a spirit of defiance, of rebellion, of certainly not a spirit of Jesus. And so that's troubling me, and I want us to just consider that today. If you're a part of this is not one of those great inspirational talks, just reflecting on our world and really wanting to lay our hearts bare, I guess, is my point. And for me as a leader, I really want to lead well. And how do I lead people, especially that there's a part of me that just wants to make peace. Again, I'm a peacemaker, right? But there's an unhealthy part of the peacemaker. There's the shadow side of the peacemaker, that we make false peace because we just want people to be happy or want people to be pleased with us. And I struggle with the reality that there are things I think that need to be said that won't bring me very much popularity. So, but the heart of it is this, and you can really only answer this for yourself, is, where is there a spirit in us that it does not reflect the Spirit of Jesus, the Spirit of God in this whole, in politics and as it relates to the pandemic and the polarizing opinions that exist, and the vitriol and the anger and the shaming. It's hard to see Jesus in all of that, and I feel like the church can really shine. We can really stand out as stars shining amidst a generation that humility and self-sacrifice and putting our own agenda aside for the sake of others and for the glory of God, it could be just really what the church is shown for and made up of. And I fear that we aren't doing that very well at times. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in particular. I'm not trying to call anybody out here. I'm appealing for us to the importance of examining our own lives, examining our own hearts, examining our words, and allowing God to come in and just reveal to us what is it we need to hear today, and to ask. And it starts with asking the question: where is God? Where is God? Am I hearing from Him clearly? Am I completely opening up my life, my soul, and examining things that could be very painful, difficult for me to hear for myself? So that's what I got for today. Jeremiah is the weeping prophet, right? He doesn't always say the things that people want him to say, and that goes against my own personality of just, I want people to feel good. I want people to feel peace, and sometimes the message doesn't always feel that way. So anyway, I am praying for you every day. I'm grateful for your support and your prayers for me and our ongoing ministry to make God known in every way we possibly can. And He's most known through our lives and our relationships with one another. So I really appreciate you all, and I pray God's blessing on you today, and we'll see you again tomorrow.